giant learn from its recent failures and regain public trust? I'm Veronica Dudo. Let's find out.
This is In America Today from the Ticker News Studios in New York City.
Hello and welcome. Coming up, the United States has told Congress and allies in Europe about new intelligence related to Russian nuclear capabilities that could pose an international threat. This, according to a source briefed on the matter. But first, Boeing says it's working to show implementation of meaningful safety improvements and to earn back the trust of its customers and the aviation industry. The sentiment comes after the alarming blowout of a cabin panel on one of the brand new Boeing 737 MAX 9 planes. While the aerospace company has faced criticism in the past, is there a path forward to regain public trust? For more, we're joined by Natalie Byrne, the founder of Blank Space. Hi, Natalie. Thanks so much for joining us today.
This really matters to so many people whose lives are touched by Boeing.
Absolutely. Now, this has certainly been a rough way to start 2024 for Boeing. First, what are your thoughts on how the CEO and leadership responded?
Calhoun has been in a tough spot. His response thus far has been very matter of fact, but it has lacked a real sense of urgency. I think people are looking for more confidence, drastic changes, and, former executives has even said that there's a need for Boeing to look back because work could have to really avoid all of this, and we're hearing that from.
Now, many experts believe that the decision by the FAA to ground the aircraft temporarily provides business leaders with an important crisis management lesson that as soon as you know something, do something. As someone who works with big companies and leaders on their brand purpose and communications, do you agree?
Oh, 100%. Also, I do a deep dive on their value alignment. People are struggling to really understand what they stand for at this point. If you look at their website, their mission statement, their values are quality, integrity, and safety. These are the things that we are seeing have gone to the wayside over, the past few months. So how are we looking at what they stand for and how those values affect everything across manufacturing, supply chains, stakeholder, consumer trust, all of those different pieces?
Now, you mentioned value alignment. How can that be applied in a variety of different situations?
Yeah, this is important whether you're a new company or you're well established. We live in a very changing marketplace, and when you have values that you don't to, there's a huge discrepancy. Something I would add for them to look at too is transparency. We're hearing a big outcry for ads and transparency and innovation and places that they just haven't been focused on in the same way. So going back and looking at who they are, what they stand for, affect business is paramount.
Now, Boeing says it wants to regain the public's trust and move past the chaos. What did the company lose in terms of values in the incident?
Right. This is exactly what we're talking about. How are we looking back and looking forward? Where were corners cut? If you're not, focused on safety and quality, what are you focused on? People are saying that 20 years ago, the company made cuts. And then, of course, we had the pandemic that did nothing. So we have to say, okay, what has happened? Is there enough employees on the floor of these factories? I've heard from one team member that there's just a lot less space in the factory that is building and assembling these commercial planes. So with a lot less space, that sounds very cluttered. How are we making sure that quality and safety are number one?
Now, a strong culture remains at the base of any successful organization and requires participation of all employees. How much do you think morale and employee sentiment plays into this?
Oh, 100%. We're talking about the eyes and ears of how these values come to life, and even impacts the future pipeline for the company. The company needs to start asking questions like, how are we treating the employees and workers on the ground? What is their incentives, benefits, compensation? What is the education that's being provided? And there is less less education or vocational training. How is this knowledge being passed? I mean, this is a bigger education problem in the workforce. But as we look at them recruiting a new generation, I think that these are key factors that have to be taken into account. The workforce issues seem to be also top-down leadership that's communicating, but maybe not listening as well to what's happening on the ground. I think that is something that even Calhoun has commented in his recent responses.
Now, we see a lot of times that big companies prefer to go quiet when something like this occurs. Is that a mistake? Should they aim to remain curious, maybe ask why something had happened, and then critically assess the facts and data?
100%. We want to hear from them. You know, America really cares about this company. The world is touched by this company. We want to hear what's happening, what went wrong, honesty, transparency. These are the keys in something like this. Admitting where you've gone wrong. I've seen a couple interviews with him that people are upset. They're upset that it seems to be a bit of like, where are we pointing the finger? And coming out strong for how you can change and what you're learning in the process is so key right now to the success of this.
Natalie Byrne, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate the conversation.
Thank you.